The last few weeks in the yard have been full on, and the week ahead, well, it's shaping up to be just as intense. Today, we're tackling the last big fabrication project on the boat. Any guesses? Yep, it's the rudders, building our very own from scratch. This is where things get exciting. No fancy factory setups or pre-made pieces here. It's just us, raw materials, and a whole lot of determination to shape something that'll steer this catamaran through any adventure. Well, are you talking about this funny thing on my face or these beautiful rudder bearings?
Maybe both.
Okay. Well, Dan gave me a challenge the other day. He said, hey, it's Movember. What do you say that we each shave our mustaches into like sort of a funny thing, and then we'll do it in support of like men's prostate cancer. That's what we're doing. Now you know exactly how long it takes us to edit and put out a video. So you're welcome for that. Anyway, for the last couple days, I've been putting together a plan in my head to install the rudder bearings. So these are the Juffa self-aligning rudder bearings. They're quite a cool piece of engineering. So they have this very solid kind of aluminum frame around them, and then on the inside are composite bearings, and this bearing can swivel. It can move a little bit to kind of like self-align itself. So imagine this is the top one somewhere up here, this is the bottom one. We align them like this, and then the shaft goes down, and then the rudder turns like this. They're quite a trick to install. They're supposed to be either welded or chalk fasted in place. And welding didn't seem like a great idea to us. That's what it said on the plan. So we're gonna chalk fast them. And chalk fast is a super hard industrial grade epoxy that can be used to make mounts, chocks, fasten things. Let me show you what we're gonna do. So this bearing sits up here in the rudder tube. It fits in there pretty good, but you see how there's a little bit of play in that? So what we're actually gonna do is we're gonna insert this all the way up. I've drilled and tapped a hole for a 1/4 inch BSP barb fitting. And then I have taken the die grinder and I've cut channels in the side of the tube. We're going to mix this chalk fast compound up. We're gonna pour it down a tube. I have the bottom sealed so that nothing can leak out. The chalk fast goes in, it goes here, it starts to fill around here, and then on the other side, I've cut another groove. So once it fills up, then the chalk fast rises up this side, it comes around, it fills this whole void, and then it comes up another groove I've cut to the top. As the gravity pushes the chalk fast down, it pushes it up until the levels equalize. And then when that stuff hardens, this thing is literally fixed in place. Come over here, Dan. Quit messing around. Look at that mustache.
What's happening?
Nice stash, brother.
You like it?
When you say that it hardens, I think you got distracted by Dan's mustache. Like, how hard does it get?
Whoa.
Like,
That's what she said.
No. Is it like stone hard, or does it become more like
Yeah, I mean, basically,
glue?
this stuff is used to support industrial machinery, like motor mounts, like engine mounts, and you can pour it in place.
Okay.
And then it becomes like ultra hard,
Okay.
like ridiculously hard.
That's what she said.
Yeah. So that's the plan. With no time to waste, let's dive right in. Installing the bearing starts with preparing them to be fastened in place. This is the bottom bearing, and my plan is to fill the space around the bearing housing with chalk fast to hold it firmly in place. I'll be filling it from the bottom up, pushing the air out as the chalk fast rises. And just in case I get a little eager and pour too much in, I decided to make a dam of sorts. So here I am using adhesive to create a dam out of neoprene rubber to catch any overflow and keep it out of the interior of the bearing. To make holding them in place easier while everything is curing, I've designed a small tool, a rectangular piece of metal that supports the weight of the bearing. Using a string attached to the tool, I can apply pressure and hold the bearing in place while pouring the chalk fast around it. It's a simple solution, but it works perfectly to get the job done. We are ordering parts from all over the world for the Delos 2.0 build, but there are roadblocks everywhere. And one of my favorite sites where I like to get prices and product specs is actually blocked for us here in Australia. My go-to solution for this problem is a virtual private network, which is why I'm happy to say that today's video is proudly sponsored by NordVPN. NordVPN works in over 200 countries and across all devices, and I use it to not only stream my favorite shows while I'm traveling abroad, but also for price checking between continents. NordVPN will protect 10 devices from a single account and has a 30-day money-back guarantee. One of the features that really stands out to me is NordVPN's Threat Protection Pro. It can protect you from phishing scams, malware, and even blocks fake websites that are scams posing as legitimate businesses. There are a lot of scammers trying to take advantage of online shoppers this holiday season, but it is super easy to protect yourself. All you have to do is head on over to nordvpn.com/svdelos. That is our link. I'll put it in the description below also. And if you do right now, you can get huge savings with 4 free months off your plan. You'll be supporting the Delos 2.0 build project and keeping yourself safe online at the same time. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. And now let's go install those rudder bearings. So I got the bottom ones ready to go with the chalk fast and everything. Now I've been working on the top bearings, but I want to show you a bunch of things on that. Okay, so this is the access panel for the emergency tiller. So if anything ever happens to the steering system, we'll have an emergency tiller that we will just drop down right here, and then it'll connect right to the top of the rudder stock. Basically the bottom bearing installed, and then you can see those shiny bits in that metal collar in the middle. So that's what I've been working on the last few days. Doesn't look like 2 days of work there, but it is. Okay, so this is the top bearing. We had to make these collars because we wanted to have a very nice way of keeping this strong, because there's a lot of force, not this way, but this way on the rudder bearings, right? So the idea is that we put it in the hole like this. Do you see how much play we have in it?
Yeah.
So the idea is we get it set where we want it, in place. This gets tacked in place, and then I put the chalk fast in there, and then the chalk fast will flow through the tubes around the bearing and fill up that whole area. And then once that's done, then that thing is like, it's prevented from moving in any direction. It's fixed. So it's been like a lot of prep work.
Yeah.
It's just like that with everything, like all these steps, but I think we're very close. All right, I've got this bolted into the flange plate, so now we're gonna fit this. Dan's gonna go downstairs, pass the rudder stock up, and then we're gonna try and get it aligned and in there and then tack everything in place.
Grab me shaft, Brian.
There's been plenty of shaft jokes this week, as you might imagine. Okay, this is actually a fairly hefty chunk of solid aluminum. I believe it was originally 76 mil and it's been turned down to 70 mil. We had to get this from Jeffet in Denmark because they actually didn't have the right alloy here in Australia.
Yeah, go inboard at the top. Go a bit forward at the top.
So now we're just tweaking it to get it. I think the most important one is to get it
Left and right.
left and right, or port and starboard. But I think we got it spot on.
It's pretty good.
If Dan says it's pretty good, that means it's spot on.
That's about her there.
And if Kurt says it doesn't suck that much, it means he likes it.
He does. If he says it's okay,
It's okay. That means it's awesome.
Yep. Means he doesn't hate it. Man of many words. I reckon we lock that in, Eddie.
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? In the US, they had a host. It was called Regis Philbin, and his thing was like, is that your final answer? And here in Australia, it was Eddie. And he said, lock it in, Eddie.
Lock it in, Eddie. Lock it in.
Did they have it in Sweden, Kaz?
Yeah.
What was it? What did they say in Sweden?
I can't remember. I didn't.
Wunderbar! Something like that.
I think that's German.
Oh, sorry. Guys. Well, we might
say,
drop that in. We'll put a couple of tacks on it and then we'll come back and check.
It's dropped.
Yeah, it's all in?
Yeah.
All right, we'll get the alignment right, so it looks
Done.
on the mustache.
Yep. Done.
180 we want.
180.
With the bearings finally locked into place, we're moving on to the next big step, working with the Chalkfast. It's a delicate process and there's no margin for error. If it doesn't go as planned, it could cost us days of work to fix. So here's to steady hands and a little bit of luck.
Are you ready, Brian?
I'm as ready as I'll ever be. I've never done this before, like most things on this build. So I expect there to be a few stuff ups. This is way too much, and these things are incredibly expensive. So I'm only gonna do a quarter of this, and I think that should be more than enough. So basically I'll measure out a quarter of this, a quarter of the hardener. It doesn't say how much it is, so it's 250 grams. So a quarter, that would be 75 grams.
I just heard your maths, Brian. I don't know if that was right.
Don't mess it up.
Oh yeah, half of 125. So 62 and a half.
Thanks, Kurt.
Thanks, Kurt. That was a test, Kurt. I'll mix it up real good.
After mixing the Chalkfast, I ran a little test, just to make sure this pretty thick stuff would flow down the tube and funnel fast enough to fill the void before it started to cure. When we started to pour the Chalkfast, we weren't entirely sure how it was going to turn out. Honestly, we were a bit nervous. There's absolutely no room for error here. If the stuff were to go off too early and clog up the tube before the space around the bearing was completely filled, it would be a crazy amount of work to get it apart and start all over.
Yep, there it goes.
Here we go.
So I think we'll go for it.
That looks so wild, Brian. Like a science experiment.
It is a science experiment. This bearing down here has a gap around it, and the top isn't sealed off. So the Chalkfast should go in here, and then it should fill up, and I'm gonna need to look down the hole to watch it when to stop. This one is closed at the top and the bottom, so this is for the Chalkfast to come in, this is for air to come out. So when this one's full, I'll see the Chalkfast start to come up here.
Which one are you gonna do first?
I think I'll do the bottom one first. Okay, here we go.
Oh my god, I'm so nervous now. So what just happened?
So it just went off real quick. You know how if you do epoxy in hot weather, it goes off and it becomes solid in the bucket and gets real hot?
So it hardened fast, huh?
Oh yeah.
That's what she said.
So I felt it start to get hot in my hands, and so I was gonna pour this one, and then I stopped because it started to thicken. But this one turned out real well, so it flowed down in and then pushed itself up. It's all the way to the top, like right to the bottom of my overflow barrier, exactly where I
Do
wanted
we
to
need
stop.
to remove that or no?
No, I made it so that it can just stay in permanently.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's in. That bottom bearing is done.
It is. How hot do you think it is in here? Because it said 18 hours on that. That was why I asked you before, because I was like, holy shit, that.
There is a hardener reduction table that you can do, so I could put less hardener in it. But
Okay.
they said based on metal temperature, and so the metal temperature is not that hot. But maybe I'll just make a smaller batch because
Because even, I mean, in that bucket, there's no metal, right? Like there's just
it's just air temperature, right?
in the bucket.
So there's nothing to suck the heat away. Like
Yeah.
this tube, aluminum is very good at conducting heat, so it takes the heat and pulls it out of the stuff, right?
So I wonder, is it worth to go and get some ice?
I think I'll just mix a smaller batch
Smaller batch for that top one.
and I'll do the bottom one because I know how much that should take, right?
On the other side.
Yeah, I'll do like half of a batch.
Okay, and do the other side now.
Yeah. I'll do less hardener this time and see how long the other one takes.
Yeah.
Then we'll go from there.
Okay.
I probably didn't do a good job of explaining my thought process here, but it's the heat in the reaction that causes the stuff to solidify. The stuff that went into the rudder tube was still liquid and flowing because the aluminum was pulling the heat out of it, slowing down the reaction. However, the chalk fast in the funnel and mixie bucket went off way quicker because there was nowhere for the heat to go. Confident in my theory, I mixed a smaller batch and went for it. Sure enough, the mix began slowly to flow, filling the tubes exactly as planned. It was such a relief to see it working just as it should. The sight of those tubes filling up, smooth and steady, was a small but satisfying victory in this massive project.
Yeah, this is it. That's it. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out.
So what's the next step on this saga?
Well, now I cut all these hoses loose, and next up is we fabricate some rudders.
But not before it's time we introduce you to our apprentice, young fella Nate. He's been away from the camera up until now, but it's finally time for his first cameo. And what a better moment than growing a sudden mustache for Movember.
This will get your donations up.
Yeah, we're gonna get all the girls down there.
Yeah. What does it look like?
Yeah.
Morning, guys.
It's already started out to be a pretty interesting morning with the ant infestation.
We have a somewhat ant situation.
What is going on up here?
Nightmare.
Queensland is crazy. There's so many things that are trying to get in the house. Look at that. Ew. Between that and the spiders, huh? What do you think, Nugs?
Should we spray it or should we spray?
I think we gotta go to work. We'll deal with it when we get back. That's crazy.
Like-
I ended up spraying them and then they all fell down and then I had to sweep them out. But there was hundreds of them.
I know, and it's been like that, like, yeah, like every other day.
So far we've had ants, we had
A pretty big spider,
2 giant spiders, and there's
roaches.
quite a few cockroaches.
Which for some reason, like, the spider and the ants don't freak me out as much as the roaches. I do not like roaches for some reason. It's one of my phobias that I have to kind of, I don't know. What do you do against, if anybody has some tips against phobias, let me know.
Like for bugs?
No, specifically for roaches.
Oh, for roaches, yeah.
Like, I don't really, like, ants are just annoying, but like roaches, I like,
freaks
it like
you out.
freaks me out to
Like
the
you
point
can't
where it's
even
like,
sweep a dead one up.
yeah, where it's like not healthy. Like, not, it doesn't make any sense. Like, they don't bite, they don't do anything. But it's something.
And now
We're going into the shop, and yeah, it's a lot of
I
things
have
going on.
something cool to show you when we get there.
Oh, I'm
It's a
excited.
surprise.
Surprise?
Surprise!
I like surprises. But yeah, it's a short commute, though. We should be there in a few minutes.
You gotta come check this out. Tell me what you notice.
Nice. Whoa, that's crazy. The sides are on.
Yeah.
The sides with the rails.
How do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we
That's
opted to go
awesome.
with solid rails
Yeah.
instead of the normal. I don't know, I just think the normal stanchions with the 2 lines or the 3 lines looks sort of droopy and dainty. I've never liked it. Maybe it's
Yeah.
because I'm so used to the solid rails on Delos,
Yeah.
but I think it's coming together really well. Plan this so that it parallels this line on the
Okay.
boat right here.
To
You can
have
see
on
it on
here.
this side.
handrail.
So like those angles are the same.
Like it's pretty high, but it's good.
It's 700 mils, so
Yeah.
it's 50 mils higher than Delos. So the idea
All the way
is
back.
to not have any breaks in the tow rail,
Okay.
because you know how on bare aluminum boats you see those streaks running down
Yeah.
the side? I really wanted to avoid that, and so the water will kind of like flow back. We got to figure out what it does in the back of the boat so it doesn't go right into the cockpit.
The boys have been working relentlessly on the deck area, and it's starting to show. Even the smallest details are coming together, adding so much character to the boat already. It's like watching her personality take shape, one piece at a time.
Is the rudder stock. It's quite an impressive piece of aluminum. And the task that we've been setting aside today is to fabricate the rudder.
Dan is
Pretty cool.
emerging from the loo.
There he is. Come on over here, Dan. Zip it up.
You going to the toilet too?
Yeah, just carrying my rudder stock to the dunny as you do. Is this on the agenda?
This is, mate. We're going to make a rudder.
Foresee any issues? Easy as?
Yeah.
How long do you think it'll take?
About a day.
Sweet.
Day and a bit of change.
Not gonna build a boat standing here talking now, are we?
Let's go get at it.
There you go.
Mic'd up.
Y'all mic'd up now, amigo.
So the first process is we've made up these frames with rider bars on them. We've got to weld them out, but before we can do that, we just want to mark everything out, make sure it's going to fit. We need these rider bars to pick up on the plug welds, and we need the shaft to be in the right spot.
So on the side of the shaft here, there's a keyway. So this is the rudder stock, and here is the keyway. So this is the tiller arm that fits over the stock, and you can see it has a keyway in it. So the key goes in there, it locks it in. And what we need to do is orientate this so that as the rudder is straight, the tiller arm is actually orientated sideways at about 60 degrees for the proper geometry with the steering system. And so when we put this together, we just got to make sure that the rudder ends up straight, and then the tiller arm ends up 60 degrees offset from that, and then everything should work okay.
Made up the frames, I just want to check and make sure that like the stock's going to line up properly. Put a few more reference lines on. Then we'll take this one off, start tacking the base up, get that all ready, weld that out, and then alignment of the rudder stock itself at that 60 degrees, the right measurement, and then we put the lid on, lock her in.
What's the trickiest part?
Probably getting that rudder stock alignment. Yeah.
How about keeping it from tweaking
Twisting,
when we
yeah.
put heat into it?
Yeah, so we'll brace it up before we weld it as well.
And probably weld it to the table as well.
Yep. The table has a big jig to hold it flat, build it level this way, and then glue it together. It's the last big fabrication job, yeah. I haven't seen Brian's extra list
I
yet.
sent him a special list this morning. There's only 26 items on there.
26, are any of them this big? Maybe.
I mean,
This is not the last job.
it's the last job that he knew about until this morning.
I've been looking forward to this part of the project for a while now. A sturdy rudder is absolutely crucial, and I've heard more than one story of a boat abandoned at sea or sunk due to a failed rudder. So for me, it was amazing to have a hand in the fabrication. As always, the parts were CNC cut and labeled, and then it was up to us to fit every piece together, kind of like a 3D jigsaw puzzle. For such a crucial element, it must not only be strong, but perfectly straight and accurately aligned, otherwise it would affect not only our sailing performance, but the feeling of the steering as well.
Yeah, just a little spot on there for now.
I'm just filming the boys starting to fabricate the rudder, and it's so interesting how it's like so much measuring. It's so much like different angles and measurements, and just a lot of like aligning everything and making sure that everything is super straight. They started to first tack it together, just checking everything every time, you know. I find it like kind of not similar to sewing, but that's the only thing that I can like relate it to, just in the way that like the welding is a short part of the whole process, and majority is actually just like measuring and mapping everything out. And yeah, it's really, really fascinating to watch.
Dan's talking about sliding the shaft in. What a fit.
Oh, SOS, locate DJL.
That's what he says?
Damn it.
Just do a couple of quick references. So just do a quick check, mate, from there back to the back of the rudder. Just try and, if you go sideways, then you'll pick up on the centre.
It's like 5:35, 37.
5:37. It's pretty square. Same spot there. The next step, so we're just putting the rest of the frames in, and then once we're happy, we'll put a few stitches on it, and then we'll align the shaft, get that 60 degrees right. So we'll clamp the tiller arm on it, get that right, then we've got to weld the shaft in, and then we can put the other skin on. To stick out to the left, that's upside down, I think. Yep, so that way. So with the rudder straight, it was off to the left.
Yep.
Yep, so just align that close enough too. That should be pretty close to top dead centre of the rudder, which it looks like it is.
Yep.
Because these would have been made to suit 60 degrees.
Yep.
One there. Yep. Yeah, about 52 mil, I reckon.
Bring it down to this from here.
Yeah, we've got a round bar to go in the end. Yeah, so there's a. So we want that plate to sort of fall right on the high side of the round bar. So somewhere there, I reckon.
The round bar forms the leading edge of the rudder, so instead of just welding the skin plates together, they get welded to either side of the round bar, which gives us a perfectly round shape and makes it a lot easier to blend a smooth curve right into the plates. After cutting off the extra plate, we welded some large pieces of aluminum channel right to the outside of the rudder. These very strong pieces would be a strong back for the rudder, helping it to stay straight and true as we begin the final phase of welding. After the welding is complete, we'll cut them off and grind the welds smooth again, and you'll never even know they were there. But our rudder will be straight.
A lot of welding in this last part of the rudder. So Dan is just switching it around and around and just like doing this part, doing that part to not put too much heat into it. And also he's gonna fill in, he's just in the last basically bit of this project. So he's just filling in, welding everything, filling in the plug welds to just kind of keep everything together. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So it's gone really smooth today, and I think it's gone way faster than kind of what the boys expected. So that's really cool. But yeah, it's almost done. How many times do you think it takes to fill in the?
Normally one good run, one fill, and then just a bit of a dress up. A couple of spots here and there. Well, with that, we're going to do a bit more on the front now. Move my money.
Look at that!
Polish your turd.
It's so shiny.
Pretty slick, huh?
Was it smoother than you thought?
Because you had me helping, right?
Looks great.
Just got to weld around the shaft.
So you weld around the, that's
Yeah,
the
what's
last.
that still hot?
Ooh. That's the last bit?
Weld around that in less than a day.
I know. That's great. Great success. How heavy is it?
How heavy?
Yeah. Maybe.
About half as heavy as two of them together.
Yeah.
I don't know, it might be
300 kilos?
Des and Troy.
Around here.
I know.
Finish it up, put it in. Which is cool, because then I can start putting in the steering stuff, right? Oh boy.
That's the project done. Crazy.
Yeah, pretty much concludes the fabrication of the rudders. It actually went pretty smooth. I mean, the chalk fast was a big unknown for me. I didn't know how that was going to go, and that was a huge win. I still have my earplugs in. Oh, I can't hear anything. Oh, there we go. That's so much better.
We're both not in the focus though. Okay, that's maybe a little bit better. Okay.
Yeah, so that pretty much concludes the rudder fabrication project, except for sticking them in. We still got to stick them in the boat, which means we have to lift the back of the boat up. So we're going to wait until we move to the fit out shed.
Yep.
And then when it's on the lift, go ahead and pop them up.
Okay.
But yeah, it went smoother than I expected.
It was fun to film. Like,
it was a lot of fun.
It
It's
was
a
fun
pretty
to
cool
film.
project.
And yeah, it's a cool project. So.
Yeah, exhausted.
Yeah.
I just want to go home and take a shower. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just be happy that you can't smell through the camera because it's
hot.
freaking awful. It's
Yeah.
hot, it's sticky, it's humid.
This
We've been
camera is also
sweating.
really heavy.
I'm covered in metal dust.
I'm struggling here,
But what I was going to say is
Yeah.
if you like the videos, please let us know by liking or leaving us a comment on what you'd like to see or any particular aspect of the project. Because we're quite up to date on footage now, so we're looking for cool ideas to film. It's amazing.
Yeah, let us know.
And that's it. Thank you for watching.
See you
Thank
next
you to
Friday.
supporters. We'll see you next Friday. Bye.
Up next on Delos, it's moving day. The hull is finally finished, and it's time to move this beautiful beast into our new home where we'll start phase 2 of the build, the fit out and systems installs.
It feels like it's an end of an era in
It
a
is.
way.
Out of here. Slipped, sorry.
So we're making up frames, make up all the frames. He'll be finished in a minute.
Impossible. The one thing I will add is every morning, Kaza wakes up, she looks at me, and she just starts laughing. So she can't take me seriously. I can't take myself seriously. Nobody takes me
Sierra
seriously.
told her, Daddy, you look funny.
Daddy, you
and you were
look
like,
funny.
thank you.
I was like,
She's like,
"Thank you."
no, that was not a
She's like,
compliment.
it's not nice, Daddy. It's like, okay.
Does it harden to like stone hard or is it like semi-soft?
That's what Oscar said.
That got so solid straight away.
Pretty warm.
Is it?
Yep.
Wow.
8,000th time today. Into the room. Thanks for
What's that weigh?
20 kilos probably.
20, 25. Let's just say it's 40 kilos.
Yeah,
Hollow or is it?
180
It's solid.
kilos. Kaz, I was just hanging on to.